He came into the world the last of 10, not the loudest, but the one who would listen. A watcher, a learner, a quiet kind of strong. Raised by Lila, the fire and the frame, he learned to walk with purpose, speak with care, and hold steady in storms. In a badge, he wore courage. In life, he offered peace. What once he upheld in uniform, he now pours into canvas, painting not for praise, but from memory, from his soul. The youngest became the elder, the brother became the bridge. A quiet man who speaks through presence, through memory, through art. This is the story of Jerome Chambers, and we are better because he is part of us. Woven into the roots, standing in the branches, living in the faces of the family he helped grow. This is legacy. This is love. This is home. Hello and welcome to Our Family, Our Legacy. Again, it's a special edition of a wonderful opportunity to meet with our Uncle Jerome. In the opening, we shared a bit about your story, but I want to clarify something from that introduction. Now, you're the youngest of 12 children born to Grandma Lila?
Actually, I'm the 11th child. Your Aunt Rosalie was the 12th child.
Okay. All right. So Rosalie was the baby.
She was the baby, yes.
Okay. So today, though, we're going to dig a little deeper. We're going to hear some memories and some reflections that you have. And most of all, we're going to hear the wisdom that you've gathered over the years. And I can't wait. So let's begin, shall we?
Yes.
Okay. So, Uncle, let's start at the beginning. What was it like growing up in the Chambers clan?
Well, growing up as a young brother, it was great. I mean, there was no issues. I was protected by my brothers and sisters. You know, my mother was the caretaker, very strong woman, took care of us, made sure that we were fed and clothed. She was our protector. Strong family, because of her strong family roots, it made us strong.
Okay. Do you have a special memory of your mom? What do you remember most?
Well, I remember her cooking. You know, she was a wonderful cook, as you know. Created all kinds of meals. She was able to make sure that we survived. We were very poor, but we still were able to survive when we never felt like we were poor. Very blessed to have had my mother.
That's a very important piece that you just brought up because this is episode 6 of Our Family, Our Legacy. And one of the things that keeps coming up is that whole point that we never felt poor. We were poor. Some said poor as church mice, but we never felt that way. In fact, we felt rich.
Very rich.
Yeah.
Rich in love, and we were rich in love and caring. Our parents really cared for us.
Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. You had a special relationship with my father, Kenneth Ellis. What was that relationship like with him?
Well, Kenneth was always in my life.
Hmm.
He took care of me even when I was a young man. When you
Hmm.
guys lived in Turner Station, I
Hmm.
recall him uh, at the table. We all sat in there, and then he would take all of us, including you and Keith, down to the inner harbor, and we would crab. And I'll never forget putting those chicken necks and livers on strings and pulling those crabs in, and then taking those crabs back to your mom's house and your dad's house, and we would steam those crabs, and we would have crabs all day.
All
Beautiful,
day. Mm.
all day.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And he also, after my father passed away, he was like the matriarch. He would come. He made sure that we were able to learn about different things, the
You mean
birds and the
patriarch?
bees. The patriarch, yes.
Hmm.
I did
Hmm.
it again. Yeah,
That's okay.
yeah. He made sure that me and your Uncle Milton understood what we needed to do when we were out in the street. So, very important.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. You became a police officer at a time when not a lot of black men were wearing that badge. What led you to that calling?
Well, as I stated before, it wasn't my first choice.
Okay.
Uh, the situation was either go a different route or be involved in things that I probably shouldn't have been involved in. I worked as a sheet metal fabricator and a core maker. And my nails would get dirty, and I decided one day that I wasn't going to have my nails dirty any longer.
I heard that.
And then I traveled down to the uh, municipal building to actually take a test to be a firefighter.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, all those positions were filled, and the only positions that were available at the time were police positions, police officer.
Mm.
And I was encouraged to take that exam, which I did reluctantly. And out of 30 folks, only three of us passed. And I happened
Mm.
to be one of them.
Wow. Wow. And so you got into the police department
Yes. And they
by
immediately took
by
us over
by mistake.
by mistake. Yeah, actually by mistake. Yeah.
Yeah.
They immediately took the three of us over to the headquarters building, I guess because they were in a dire need for police officers.
Hmm.
And beginning the training process. After being there for a couple of weeks, we were taken out to uh, Mount Washington, which was an old uh, Catholic church that they converted into a training center for
Hmm.
police.
Hmm. Hmm.
I did 16 weeks of training at that facility.
Hmm. You still there?
Yeah.
You said
Were
you
you
did.
waiting on me?
No, you were
Yeah, I
saying
did
you said you did 16 weeks at that facility of training.
of training. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything about that experience that stands out for you? Being a police
That,
officer in
yeah, that,
Baltimore.
that experience was instrumental in my life path.
Hmm.
Because back then in the day, there's other routes I could have taken.
Hmm.
And by the grace of God, I was set on that path, which
Hmm.
created the life that I have now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's all about choices, and that choice was the correct choice for me.
Hmm. 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 What did you learn about yourself during that period? What did you learn about people?
What I learned about myself was that I was capable of doing anything,
Hmm.
and about people that people um, you have to be kind of leery of them. You have to hear them out and see what exactly they are about. Sometimes it's not always good to have a lot of people in your life. But
Mm.
when you find decent people, those are the ones you should stick with.
Hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. So beautiful. It sounds like it was a good choice for you because you could have gone down that road of drugs and violence
Drugs, yeah,
and
absolutely.
robbing people and that kind of stuff. We know what happens in the city of Baltimore.
Amen.
Yeah, but there's some good people there too. We want to
Oh yeah.
emphasize that. Some very good people. We are products of that inner city.
Oh
So
yeah.
let's
Amen.
let's keep it 100.
Yeah.
So So, Uncle, when did painting enter your life?
Painting has always been in my life
Mm-hmm.
because I was painting a lot when I was young, but it wasn't something that my parents or my parent, my mother was the only one living at the time, was able to financially support. As I'd indicated, I took that drawing test and had a gentleman come down from Connecticut and offer me an opportunity to go to art school in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
But due to the financial issue, my mother wasn't able to provide that for me. Now, I
Mm-hmm.
will say that she was willing to do it, which I didn't mention before, but she was willing to do it. But it was just an impossibility given the fact that we were in survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to survive in the 60s and early
Mm-hmm.
70s was the challenge. So I did not do that. But when your Aunt Rosie passed in 1999,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I decided that I was going to move forward with my art abilities. And my niece, Dr. Joan Gaither, was very instrumental in me starting down that path.
Mm-hmm.
She was my guide. She told me what I needed to do. She made sure that I had exhibits,
Mm.
the first one being at the Arena Playhouse in Baltimore.
Yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And out of that exhibit, I sold approximately $3,500 worth of artwork
Wow.
coming out the gate.
Coming
So
out
that
the gate.
was really thing for me. But let me just stress, since we're doing this again,
Uh-huh.
that it wasn't about the money. It was more of a passion, a deep passion, to be able to create what God intended for me to create. So,
Mm.
given that, I continued on that journey. And as a result of that, I was in several publications. I've won numerous awards that I have that were a direct result of that journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, you've got lots of accolades in regard to the art world, but you also had some when you was a police officer as well.
Yes, I received.
Did you want to share a little bit about that in
Yeah,
relationship to the difference between those experiences as a police peace officer and one now that we've gone from, brotherhood to brush strokes,
yes, yes,
as the title
um,
says.
yes. As as an officer, I received two accommodations: the
Mm-hmm.
letter of accommodation for apprehending a purse snatcher in
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore City,
Mm-hmm.
and the second accommodation was a Silver Star for apprehending a suspect who had murdered a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, those two experiences were uh, very stressful, to say the least, but it's something that reflects my training and my ability to perform in that capacity.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. What does creating art do for you now at this stage of your life?
Well, since I haven't painted in about 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
when I was painting,
Mm-hmm.
it was a mental release. It allowed me to uh, de-escalate, to say.
Mm-hmm.
It helped me to soften the feelings within. Very positive thing for me. Uh, a period of l- light feeling, not intimidating. That what I
Mm-hmm.
was doing was creating motion from myself. Very
Mm-hmm.
interesting thing.
Mm-hmm. Where you were doing what now?
Creating motions within myself. In other words, making myself feel warm and, I guess, warm and, okay, now I'll put it, but just feeling good about what I was doing, just
Mm-hmm.
making it something that my body really needed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The art energy was necessary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Are there some pieces that hold deep meaning for you?
Yes, one
Mm-hmm.
that I painted for my mother of a man laying under a tree that she really loved.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then one that I painted for your Aunt Rosie, Sunset, that
Mm-hmm.
was a very passionate piece for her as well. Those
Mm-hmm.
two pieces I still have.
Can you see the piece on the screen here?
Yes, I can.
Let's talk a little bit about that one. I don't have those. If you would send those to me, I really would like to include them at some other point in time. But talk a little bit about this piece. What does it say
It,
to you?
it,
And
it's called Control.
mm-hmm,
It's the elder controlling the younger
mm-hmm,
youth. And if you look down on the piece, you'll see his
right here,
finger
right here.
is attached to his arm, holding him back,
Mm-hmm,
basically giving him some guidance.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very interesting piece. The expression on their faces is pretty profound. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes.
What about this piece here? I like this piece here. It's called.
That's waves.
Mm-hmm.
I actually painted that for a coworker when I worked at USF&G,
Mm-hmm.
and she wanted to give it to her husband as an anniversary gift.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a piece that I painted when we lived at 26 Allison Way up in Bel Air.
Mm-hmm.
And Sharon never saw me paint, and she was just astounded at the quality and the ability that I had.
Mm-hmm.
Once I showed that image to the individual, she who didn't care for it much, she said it was frightening. So
Mm.
I still have that piece as well.
Mm. Yeah. What about this one? This one I like.
Yes. That was also in a show here in the Indy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, just an image that came to me while sleeping, and I decided to paint it. But
Mm-hmm.
it was in a show. It did run 2 awards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 2 awards.
Yeah, it won 2 awards. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And here's the picture of you in your
Yeah.
in the uniform.
27 years old, badge number 1013.
1013. Yes, indeed. Now this picture here I find to be pretty uh, fascinating. This tells a story. What is the story behind this picture?
Well, this is when we moved into your Aunt Lee's house on 2810 Mulberry Street.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see, that's me on the left,
Mm-hmm.
your Aunt Rosie behind me,
Mm-hmm.
your Uncle Milton behind Aunt Rosie,
Mm-hmm.
your Aunt Pat, and then your grandmother. Uh, as you can see in that image, there's no sadness,
None.
nothing but joy.
Nothing but joy.
That's the way we were raised.
Mm-hmm.
Never felt like we needed anything. Like I told you before, I remember a time when I had cardboard in my shoes for 2 months
Mm-hmm.
and I had one pair of pants. I had to wash them every day.
The
But it didn't,
parallels.
yeah, and didn't Charles, it didn't feel like I was poor.
Not at
Never
all.
felt it.
Not at
Never
all.
felt it.
Yeah. Yeah. The things we had to do and the things our parents had to do to get us by.
Yes.
You know, there wasn't, it was not an option to not show up.
That's
It's
true.
raining and snowing and it's cold and you put that cardboard in that shoe and you marched on.
You marched on.
You
Walked
marched
to
on
school every day,
every day,
3.5 miles up and 3.5 miles back.
no matter the weather, no
No
matter
matter.
the storm, no matter the distance, but you show up. You suit up and show up with what you got. This is a very beautiful picture here. I love this picture. And one more here. I'm going to go with, where was it? This one. It's an interesting piece.
That painting is Cataract Falls. What I did was I only took one section of the falls, and that's what I painted.
Okay.
That painting is in my living room, and it's 4 foot by 5.5 foot.
Mm.
But I made prints of it, and people seem to love the prints. So
Mm-hmm.
I still have that piece as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All righty. So moving on, you've been married now for over 40 years.
38.
Okay. Well, talk about what the keys to building something that lasts like that. What are the keys to that?
Well, I'm gonna give you one word:
Mm-hmm.
patience.
Mm.
Patience is the key to that, to any relationship, because they're going to be highs and lows, disagreements and agreements. There are going to be all kinds of issues, and there's going to be all kinds of resolutions. So patience is the
Mm-hmm.
key.
Patience is the key. Patience is the key. Well, in that same vein, what advice would you give the younger generation about love, family, and staying grounded in that way?
What I would say about that is family is important, that you understand your roots, because your roots and your past reflects your future. So it's important to understand where you come from,
Mm-hmm.
the highs and lows of any situation in the family generation, so that the next generation can make it better.
Mm. Okay. Beautiful. 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 So when you look back on your life, um, what are you most proud of?
Family.
Mm-hmm.
Family is what I'm most proud of. The fact that having a strong mother who cherished the thought of family and surviving with her own siblings through harsh times is what makes family great.
Mm-hmm.
No greater gift than family.
No greater gift, is there? What
None.
greater gift? Wow. What do you hope that our family remembers about you 20, 30, or 50 years from now? What do you hope they remember?
That I was always there for my family.
Mm-hmm.
That I was always there to make sure that if they needed me, that I would be there for them.
Mm-hmm. I want you to take a moment to reflect on a situation. Let's imagine that the podcast is over and you're involved in the next activity of the day. And you think to yourself, oh, I should have said this. What would you like to say that you didn't say, that you had, if you had the opportunity? What do you need our family to know? What do you want to leave them with? What
That they
thought?
should all that they should always stay together.
Mm-hmm. Should always stay together.
Yes.
Mm. Anything else? Can you expand on that a little bit? What do you see as the consequences of not?
Well, the consequences of not staying together and understanding our past and our direction is that the generations will start to fall apart. They won't be united. They won't understand where they came from, the benefits. And as I said before, there's stuff in our family that are not that great, but there are also stuff in our family that are super great. As with every family, the conquests and the failures are parallel, but you
Yes.
focus on the conquests, the things that you were able to accomplish, and hope that the family continues those things and grows on things like that, not
We're,
regress back to the past.
we're stronger together.
We're stronger together.
It makes me remember, together we stand.
Divided we fall.
And with that, I'm going to thank you so very, very much, my precious uncle. It was really a pleasure. I know that we've only just scratched the surface and exploring and uncovering your dynamic life and legacy. But I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, and for everyone listening, for you taking the time to reflect, to share, and open up your life with us. And I'm hoping that you will come back and continue to share and be on with other members as we continue to build this podcast of Our Family, Our Legacy. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you later.
Amen. Thank you.
All right. What we carry forward isn't just a name. It's a presence, a posture, a way of being in the world. Uncle Jerome is the 11th of 12 children born to Lila, a quiet soul with a steady light, a brother to many, and a bridge between legacies. He served his city with quiet courage and now serves his spirit through paint and brush. In his hands, peace became practice, art became testimony, and love became a language spoken without words. He never needed to lead with noise. He led with presence. The younger brother of Rosalie, the soul of a family who knew how to show up without having to be seen, but always being there. His legacy doesn't shout. It lingers in memory, in canvas, and in us. This is Jerome Chambers. This is legacy lived. This is how love leaves its mark. And this is home. If this story touched your spirit, subscribe to Our Family, Our Legacy, and be the first to hear the next voice, the next chapter, the next heartbeat of where we come from. Peace.